welcome back to my channel, Hot Mess to Success, as I document my journey as I go from a hot mess to success. Now my video today is going to be a little bit different. My previous videos have been about me being in trouble with receiving DWIs and how I struggled with it in the beginning, and now I'm on my sobriety journey. But I wanted to touch on a topic a little bit different, more on how to avoid toxic relationships. It seems like it's another growing pandemic right now where domestic violence relationships are like on the rise like crazy. I can't even think of a day that has gone by this year that I haven't checked the news or checked social media and they're covering a story of domestic violence that's ended in somebody being killed. And in these cases, it's children, and it's like an outrage, and it's something that I prayed about. So I just wanted to speak on that. So I myself have never been in a physical domestic relationship with a man. A man has never put his hands on me to date. Praise God. I'm pretty sure ain't nothing but God's grace. But I have witnessed other domestic violence relationships, and I feel since I have not, I can share some things that what I use kind of to gauge if that relationship could potentially be an abusive or a toxic relationship that I think has worked for me. I can't attest as a victim, and I'm not saying anything that I'm not saying that victims have brought that upon them by something that they did. I'm just sharing. 2 daughters. You know, I'm a mother. I have 2 younger sisters. I'm the oldest sister. So domestic violence, that topic is really important to me because I care about the safety of those around me, especially women. And I'm always sharing whatever experiences or knowledge that I have with them just so they themselves can avoid being in them situations. Since I have never been married, I've always tried to be leery of living with men, or, you know, just who I bring around my children, just because of the climate of today. You know, you just want to make sure that you're sure. So I wanted to share a few things that I do that I would recommend dating a guy, or if you are in a relationship with a guy, baby, always seek God. I'm telling you, what I think has kept me protected all this time is I'm always seeking God. Even when I was in my little heathen stage, I've always sought God. I've always prayed to God for grace and protection, you know, and God's always, if someone was meant to be in my life, they're no longer in my life, you know, or something occurred, you know, where we stopped talking. So I can never attest to what could have happened. I can just attest to what has happened thus far. But seeking God is the first thing. Even if you're already in an abusive relationship, seek God, ask him to help make a way out of no way. Ask God to show you a way to get out of the situation. And I promise you he will. That's not the hard part. I think the hardest part is actually listening to what he say. I think that's the hard. Next thing, in this day and age, that friendship stage is like the most important stage ever. I know people elope, you know, people believe in love at first sight. And that's cool if you have strong emotions for somebody when you first meet them. But that doesn't warrant you having to really get to know that person and becoming their friend. I advise all young ladies, even that are when they're dating a guy, I'm like, you need to be his friend. You need to make sure that that guy is your friend, that you actually like hanging out with him other than just being attracted to him. But the reason why that friendship stage is so important because you learn people. And if you listen long enough, people will tell you about, you know, all the women like going for well, I won't say all the women, but women typically refer to the guy who's mysterious and laid back and don't talk a lot. I got a news flash for you, but you better get that brother to talking. That used to be real cute and alluring to me, but as things progress on, I need to know who you are, brother. I ask questions. Why are you so quiet? Were you always like that? I start at the childhood. Call me nosy if you want to. And most men that are ego-driven, they won't mind you. You can't do it when you first meet them, of course. I mean, I have. But you want, as you get to know the person, like I said, you're becoming their friend. So you ask these questions and you listen to characters, like they'll tell you how other people have wronged them in the past. Listen to them tell you how they dealt with that person. Even men that be joking, like, oh, you better shut up before I hit you. Hit who? I ask. I don't play those games, baby. That person is important. Especially, I can't exempt the friendship level if you got kids. I'm sorry. I know people believe in love at first sight and they elope after 2 or 3 months, but if you got kids, baby, that's negligent as hell of you to do that. You really need to know that brother inside and out. I need to meet your mama. I need to meet your closest relative and friends. You ain't got none, why not? Where your family live at? I need to see how you are as a person before I even commit myself to be in a relationship, let alone live with you. You know, especially if you're bringing kids into that space. It's not a maybe anymore. It's a requirement. You got to put the safety of your children before your love interest. I know mama got to have a life too, but mama want to have a life and mama wants her kids to be alive. Mama don't want to be abused. So the friendship stage is most definite. The friendship stage is necessary as hell. And, you know, make sure you're asking, you know, ask that brother if he's ever done time. Ask that brother if he's ever committed a crime. If he has, find out how. You know, ask that brother about the challenges he has in his life and how he deals with them. Because I'm telling you, those characteristics definitely correlate if that man has abuse tendencies or not. Ask him his stance on abusive relationships. How does he feel? Does he feel like women should shut the hell up and stay in their place? And, you know, you need to know these things. And if he feels that women should be that way, how does he deal with them when they're not? I'll be asking shit like this because, especially, it's 2022. These are things that you really wanted to get to. I know it might strike a nerve with some women, but I'm going to tell you like it is because this is real. I believe a lot of these relationships, these abusive relationships are occurring. Well, number one, because these people don't have a relationship with God. They just can't. Not to be abusing somebody and taking their lives. At least I don't know what God they're praying to, but not the one that I serve. So, but other than that, this is a huge era of women using men. And men are now more aware of it than anything because of social media. Y'all don't told all the game on social media. The jig is up, all right? But women out here playing Russian roulette, and I'm not bashing. I'm just saying when you play those games, you are playing Russian roulette. When you're using somebody, especially a man, for financial gains for yourself, there are men, when they care about women and they are in financial situations that they are comfortable with, they will treat you, they will spoil you, and not expect anything in return other than you being the woman that he was attracted to. And if that understanding is established, you good. But when you guys to start manipulating these men, telling them that you're going to do this and that, you're going to be this and that for them in their life, and you don't plan to, and this man is working 40 to 50 hours a week, giving you his paycheck, and then you think that you finna dip on him and go be with another man? These men aren't taking it lightly. I've been watching the videos where men are going on live before they're killing their significant other, and that is the common denominator. A man talking about how he's been working all these hours and spending all this money on this woman only for her to either say she's going to leave him or already has moved on to another man. Have even been as reckless as bringing another man into these men's home. You know, some of y'all be playing games and having another man in the man's car. Y'all bold, but this isn't the era to be playing. We are in perilous times. It is an evil spirit that is running rampant, that is using whatever able host that it can. And if your man does not have a relationship with God, that is like my number one thing. You got to know the Lord. That's the only way I'm going to feel safe. I don't even care so much about people. Some women are like, you know, I need you to love and respect me. I need you to love and respect the Lord. Because if you really love and respect the Lord, then you'll love and respect me. Even if we are at odds, you'll know, okay, you'll know that there's different ways to end a relationship than trying to hurt me or take me out. But yeah, women, y'all got to be easy playing the games with these men. Average maintenance for upkeep for a woman nowadays is not what it used to be back in the 90s. You know, it's not just a matter of, you know, here's a few bucks, baby. No, it's like costing hundreds to thousands of dollars. The purses that women desire now are like $1,000 and up. So when you have a man in your life and he's buying these things for you, that's why it's so important at friendship stage. And just to keep it 100, the game plan, I don't recommend that. Not in this day and age, I don't recommend it. If you wanted something material from a man and he says he's willing to give it to you, ask him what's he wanting in return. Like, tell him straight up, what do you want to return from me? Are you wanting me to be committed to you? Are you wanting us to be in a serious relationship? If y'all not already, these things have to be established. That way, I promise you, it will make a difference. People just get really pissed when they think it's something else and it's not, and they find out you're using them, and then you try to shoot the deuces on them. Especially if a man done did something like pay for your body. I just saw a story recently. I don't even like touch. I don't like being specific on the stories because I don't know exactly what happened behind closed doors. This is just me speculating, but it was a young lady who you could tell that she had a nice little makeover done to her body, and she was a well-kept woman, and the story goes that she was trying to leave her boyfriend. He came over and he killed her. Beautiful young lady in her early 30s. She was a young girl and she had her whole life ahead of her, and there's a lot of this story is becoming more common and common. It's very disheartening to me. That's why I got to say something about it. When these men are spending money on you, expensive things, you got to be clear in communication on what they expect from you, because sometimes these men start thinking they own you. So when you want to walk away with those things or you want to enter a relationship, they're not taking it lightly. Men pride themselves in their ability to provide. Like how much money they have, they measure themselves by that. So it's like how women measure themselves by their beauty. And when you not only affect that, like he spent money on you, but let's say you don't drain them and you think you're going to walk away, you're walking away with his livelihood and his dignity and his ego. The man who doesn't have a relationship with God, that is not mentally strong like that, may do something sinister to what we've been witnessing that's been going on so much lately. In my case, I like nice things. I like being spoiled too. But more importantly, I want that man to want to treat me that way. I want that man to see value in me, to do those things for me. Not because I had to manipulate him. I know how to use my charm if I need to ask for help. I ask for help. But as far as, using a man for financial gain or for material gain, I used to think when I was younger, I used to look up to those women who did that. And then when I started getting a first row seat to what actually goes on behind the scenes, I was like, fuck that. Yeah, if a man don't want to do it for me, cool, baby, no problem. I do it for myself, or, maybe somebody else will do it. But it's got to come from him. I just don't think that this is a good time for women to be trying to manipulate men and play mind games for financial gains. And if you do, just know you're just starting a relationship with a guy and you don't have many family members or friends. I do not recommend disclosing that to him firsthand. Even if he lives close to you and he really rarely sees you around people, let him know that you got somebody distant. Tell him you got me. Tiffany in Texas, that's my girl. We talk all the time. She got my back. Her daddy's a sheriff at the police department in Fort Worth. He ain't. But whatever you got to do, just let them know that you have somebody. It seems like sometimes men will pry on women who they deem as weak, which they think in return they'll be submissive, or they try to get women isolated just so they can manipulate them and treat them whichever way that they see fit. So if you're getting to know a guy, and I know some women, we want to be loved so bad and we let our guards down, and because this man told you, just do your best not to disclose to a man that you don't have somebody close that regularly checks in on you. Until you really gotten to get to know him, and then always pray for discernment. And that's also if you plan on living with a man, you're finna move in with a man, especially if you have children. Always pray for discernment from God before, even if you feel like you're not that spiritually in touch with God, or I ain't talked to God in a long time, baby, I promise you, it don't take but 5 seconds to send a sincere prayer up to the Heavenly Father, asking for discernment before you make that move. Because it could be your life, it could be your children, all that is at stake. When I was in fashion design school, this older lady was there, and she told me that her last daughter, she had 3 girls, and her youngest daughter just graduated. And she said, don't you know, since they were younger, I've been a single mother, and all that time I haven't dated. And I was like, oh my God. Mind you, I think my daughter, my oldest daughter, was like 10 or 11 at the time. And I was just like, oh my God, girl. I think I was single at the time too. And I was just like, girl, I can't go that long with being single. But she was like, my daughter's safety is that important to me. And I didn't want to bring a man in the house. And I wanted to wait till they were grown out the house before I dated again. And fast forward, I totally understand why she made that decision. I respect that decision. That is one hell of a sacrifice for a woman to make. And I'm not saying that all women have to make that same sacrifice, but I think that all women should take that into consideration. The safety of just not themselves, but their children, especially if they have young girls and young boys too. So many young men have been violated. I'm in the fashion business. I'm a woman's woman. So things that affect women really affect me as well. And I'm impassionate when I talk about these topics, such as domestic violence, teen pregnancy. You guys will see as I climb that ladder to success what my advocate in the community will be. And I promise you, those two things will definitely be within my outreach. And I'm always going to speak on them. I'm always going to, even if I'm not directly affected, I'm always going to try to be a voice to speak out against these things and offer whatever advice that I can to the situation. So, hope you guys receive this message. Till next time, stay tuned.